Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Guys, when I first started my channel, I promised myself that I will show things the way they are. That I'm not gonna make things look better, to make them look more beautiful. I'm simply going to show you how things are. That's why sometimes things are not perfect on my channel, but that's made on purpose. I'm not trying to make a perfect picture here. I'm trying to show things the way they really are. So that's why today we're gonna have this video about minuses of Russian typical apartments. Yeah, we're gonna talk about things that I personally find uncomfortable and annoying living in a Russian apartment. I feel that before shifting to discussing details, I have to give information about Russian apartments in general. If you look at our today's situation with apartment market, you will see that most of the apartments are in buildings built in Soviet times, according to Soviet apartment standards. We also have buildings built after the collapse of USSR, but most of them are still built in accordance with the same standards. So they are not much different from the Soviet apartments. And of course, we have new big apartment, complexes that are new, that are individually designed. And now those are different. Yeah, those are completely different. They do not resemble Soviet apartments. They have more possibilities there for you to decide how you want it to be made, how you want rooms to be situated in your apartment. You have a possibility even to change some of the things in your apartment if you are buying it on the stage when the building is still under construction. But we're not going to talk about those new types of apartments because they are way much more expensive than most of the other apartments, and that standard, like average families cannot afford themselves to buy an apartment in newly built complexes. So speaking about our Soviet apartment state standards, I have to say that first standards were invented after World War II, and you have to understand that at that time our cities were in ruins, and Soviet government had to find a way to build apartment buildings fast and to build them cheap. So first standards for apartment buildings had really tiny apartments, really tiny rooms, minimal space. Of course, over the years, we had more and more types of apartment buildings included into state standards, but they were all pretty much the same. Like the main stuff inside remained the same. So let us move into discussing the things that I actually don't like. What are those things? The first thing that annoys me, and not only me, but also other Russian people that I know, is that we have toilets right next to the kitchen. So here I am, guys, sitting at my kitchen table, and if I just turn my head around over here, that's the entrance to my kitchen, and that's the door to the toilet. That's the toilet door right next to my kitchen. Just imagine a situation when your family is having a meal and then somebody wants to use the toilet. Pretty confusing. Or, for example, we Russian people like to invite guests over to our place. And usually, when we're having guests, we are all sitting at the kitchen table, drinking tea, coffee, talking, and then somebody else wants to use the toilet. Confusing, very confusing situation. And unfortunately, toilets are situated like this near the kitchen in almost all, like I would say 90% of Soviet type apartments. Yeah. Why it was made like this? It's understandable simply because it's much easier to build a building where all the tubes are sort of in one place, in one corner of your apartment. The tubes from the kitchen sink, then your toilet tubes, and your like sink and bathroom in the bathroom, right? Like all of them are very close together. It's much easier to build it this way, but it's definitely not a very comfortable solution for living in such apartments. Yes, I must admit that we do have types of apartment buildings where the toilet is not near the kitchen, where it is between the bedrooms. But it's pretty difficult to find such apartments because they are rare. And for example, for my family, it was important to stay in this part of Moscow, in this neighborhood, because it's more comfortable for us, to visit our parents this way. Uh, we don't have such apartments in the neighborhood. So we have to adjust living like this. Oh, guys, I forgot to mention that Russian standard apartments have only one toilet. And speaking of number of rooms that we have one room apartments, two room apartments, and three room apartments. Yeah, like when I'm speaking about the number of rooms, I mean only separate rooms that could be used for bedrooms, for living rooms, or something else like that. I'm not counting in the kitchen. The kitchen always goes separately. So that's the way we have it. Uh, Only in apartments of new type can you find two two bathrooms and two toilets. Instead, in Soviet apartments, only one bathroom. Another thing that is worth mentioning is that every summer, hot water is switched off for 10 consecutive days. Every year it is like this. Why? Well, because we don't have boilers for heating up water in the apartment buildings, and we do not have them in the neighborhood. We have huge water heating stations that look pretty fearsome, with huge tubes and all that steam coming out. And they need this 10-day period to make sure that everything is functioning right, to mend something that needs to be mended, to check how everything works. So they are switching this water every summer. Yes, and we have to take out all the buckets that we have, those big, pots, and heat up water at our stove. This definitely is not a very comfortable thing to do. Now, I know people are trying to solve this problem by buying little water heaters and installing them in their bathrooms, but the small ones, those small water heaters, they are not really good. They're not functioning well, and there's not much space in our bathrooms to install big ones, big water heaters. So most of the people simply wait for the hot water to be switched on again. Yeah, so we are heating the water at our stove. Another thing that I wanted to mention, another thing that I don't like in Russian apartments is our trash disposal tube that goes through the building, and it is usually near the elevator area. Yes, of course, it is pretty convenient to use it, especially when you have heavy snowing outside. It's already dark and you're tired, and you can just simply go out of your place in your pajamas, and open this thing up, just throw the trash away, and that's it. Pretty easy and comfortable. But, but guys, if you use this thing, you can definitely forget about trash separation. Yeah, like everything will go into one place. All the glass and the paper and plastic, like everything goes together. Another thing, like a major thing here, is that sometimes it stinks. This thing stinks. Yeah, luckily we don't have such problem in our building, but I know places where people really suffer from this, especially if they live on lower floors, like on first floor, second floor, third floor, they have this problem, especially in old buildings. Yeah, like they call for special services to come and to clean this place up. Then this problem is solved for a couple of weeks, and after that, the smell returns again. I'm not saying that it's like the smell is in the apartment. No, luckily no, because this thing is kind of taken further from the apartment. Like it's near the elevators. But still, I mean, every time you are using the elevator, you can hear the smell. So it's bad. It's definitely disgusting. And one more thing that I had to mention is the noises in Russian apartments. I have to admit that not all Russian apartments are noisy. Our previous apartment was absolutely wonderful. We never heard our neighbors, they never heard us, and we were living in total harmony there. But in this place where we're living right now, the situation with noises is actually terrible. Like, I can hear everything that my neighbors are doing. I can hear them switch on their vacuum cleaners, I can hear how their washing machine is working. I can hear them talk, I can hear them walk, I can hear them open and close their front door, and I can even hear them cough and sneeze. So you can imagine how is it, living in such conditions. And of course, I can understand that they can hear me as well. So this is not a really nice thing. And it does causes conflicts to happen from time to time between people living in the same building. By the way, guys, do you want to know what Russian people do when their neighbors are being too loud? You will never guess. We are not calling the police. No, actually, Russian people don't like to call the police. If they call the police, it means that the situation is like really serious. So when the neighbors are being too loud, we simply go to our radiators and we start hitting them with something hard. As you can understand, this thing is metal. It's connected to metal tubes that go through the whole building. So if you hit it, the noise goes through the whole building. By the way, if hitting the radiator didn't work, then people go to see their neighbors personally. Yeah, they knock on the door and they say, "Excuse me, please, you're being too loud. Please lower the noise. Thank you very much for understanding. Bye." If both of the families are reasonable and nice, then that's the end of the story. Yeah, the noise is switched off and everything is okay. But very often we have different situation when neighbors come and they start yelling and shouting right away. They're shouting, "What are you doing? Are you crazy? Do you want to have a fight?" So that's kind of, not a very nice thing. Yeah. People are different. They are treating different situation differently. Sometimes we're having problems and conflicts based on this noise issue. So guys, now you definitely know much more about our living conditions. And if you're planning to come to Russia and to rent an apartment here, you now know what to pay your attention to and you know what to expect. So I hope my today's video was interesting for you, was useful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hope to see you in my other videos. Bye bye.